If you've ever wondered what an Incredible Hulk movie would look like if it was made by A24, then Love Lies Bleeding might have your answer. Let's talk about it. What's up, guys? I'm Sully, and today we're talking about the brand new neo-noir crime thriller from A24, Love Lies Bleeding. All you need to know about this one is that the story goes like this. Reclusive gym manager Lou falls hard for Jackie, an ambitious bodybuilder headed through town to Las Vegas in pursuit of her dream. But their love ignites violence, pulling them deep into the web of Lou's criminal family. So this film seemed like it pretty much had my name written all over it. Murder, body horror, in 80s setting. Ed Harris, absolutely love that guy. But this is a movie that I've definitely been looking forward to ever since it was announced because I'm pretty much addicted to those types of anxiety-inducing crime thrillers. Collateral, Possessor, anything from the Safdie brothers. Even though they make my blood pressure go through the roof to the point of passing out, those are my paradise. So was Love Lies Bleeding able to give an adrenaline junkie like me the sensation I was looking for? Not exactly, but that doesn't mean what it did bring to the table was a disappointment in the slightest. Now, right off the bat, I have to say that this is one of those films that's not totally rooted in reality. I mean, sure, on the surface, we have this criminal family in New Mexico as our jumping off point, but as the plot moves along, the surreal aspects start to come into play. If you're someone that isn't totally down with your thrillers getting a little weird, trippy, and dreamlike, I don't know if this movie's gonna be for you. Luckily, where I come from, I think the freakier, the better. The film is able to say what it really wants to say and do what it really wants to do by incorporating those aspects, but your mileage may vary on that. The performances in this movie are pretty fantastic from top to bottom. Kristen Stewart seems like she's right at home in this role, and it really shows off what she's good at. Her character just wants to protect the ones she loves any way she can, and how far she's willing to go to do that is really going to test her survival skills. Katy O'Brien is an actress that I'm not all too familiar with, and I refuse to acknowledge that Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania was the first time I ever saw her on screen, so I'm just going to pretend that I'm discovering her for the first time right now because she absolutely kills it in this film. Not only did she understand the assignment when it came to the physicality of the character, but watching her implement these small emotional changes into her personality over the course of the movie was really impressive. And then the chemistry between these two actresses is pretty addicting, honestly. And watching them navigate through this trail of violence and deception is one of the aspects that makes this a journey worth taking in the first place. Obviously loved seeing Ed Harris in here as well. He's definitely one of those guys that if he's in a movie, it's reason enough for me to go out and see it. He always picks interesting projects and offers up fantastic performances. That's no different here, and I absolutely dug seeing him back in a villain type of role. We have to talk about the director here for a second though, because Rose Glass proves that she is clearly going to be a name to know for a long time, and that her first movie wasn't just beginner's luck. If you haven't seen it, Saint Maud absolutely rips, and I can't believe it's already been half a decade since we've seen anything new out of her. And I'll admit that I personally think that's a stronger effort than Love Lies Bleeding. It's just more up my alley and leaves a greater impact from where I'm sitting. But even though there are some bumps along the way for me in this film when it comes to the pacing and some creative choices around its conclusion, she still attacks this movie with such vision and polish that you wouldn't really expect out of a second-time director. Honestly, it's just refreshing to have a new voice like hers on the scene that we can count on to bring us fresh stories, interesting execution, and memorable visuals. Like I've always said, 100% of the time, I would way rather someone take big creative swings for the fences and not have everything land for me than seeing someone play it safe with a formula they know has worked time and time again in the past. That's why this movie succeeds even though I had some gripes from time to time. It's unique, it takes chances, and it will make you think. And when we talk about thrillers in general, the ones that really get me going are the ones that put their foot on the gas and never let up. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some very high octane and nail-biting sequences in this film, but I kind of wanted it to keep up that level of energy for longer than it did. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm thinking back to the films of the Safdie brothers like Uncut Gems and Good Time, where things constantly keep going from bad to worse in such a short amount of time, and you don't even have a chance to catch your breath. That's what I was going into this movie expecting, so I left the theater a little bit unsatisfied because of that. With all that being said, this is actually one of those movies where I could see my rating going up upon rewatch now that I've had time to digest some of those creative choices and I really know what I'm getting myself into. Obviously, only time will tell there, but there is still a lot to commend here. Overall, guys, Love Lies Bleeding is definitely the most unique and surreal acid trip of a movie we've gotten so far this year, and I think if you like thrillers, body horror, and 80s aesthetic, there's more than enough for you to enjoy. Along the way, there were a couple missteps regarding the pacing, some creative choices in the conclusion of the film, but it's just so exciting getting to watch Rose Glass continue to harness her directing style, and this cast let it all hang out to match the bonkers energy of the story, that it's easy to get swept up in the experience. Keep making movies for the weirdos. Love Lies Bleeding gets a Sully score of 3.5 stars. So that's my review of the latest genre-bending A24 film. What do you think is the best movie they've ever released under their name? I know, kind of an impossible question, but let me know in the comments below what you think. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys at the next one.